everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today I'm back up once again by Jimmy, Jake, and Chase.
Man, this intro is getting real fucking old.
What's going on, y'all?
What's up?
Today's matchup is Jake versus Chase. Jake is playing Gotenks. First time we've seen this on the channel. And Chase is playing Gogeta. The new Gogeta, Green, which is also new to the channel, which is fantastic. Yeah, like just always just button simple. Feel free to click up to different reasons. But let's get into today's matchup. Also, this is probably the fastest I've had to put this video at.
Really?
Yeah, so you guys pretty much, since I wasn't there this past weekend, you guys literally just clicked record and went straight to the game, and your match actually was like 46 minutes. So it's actually at 225. There was nothing that I could cut off.
Yeah, we're both pretty new with our lists, so there's a lot of like reading effects and making sure things work the way we think they do and so on.
And with that being put out there, I have not had a chance to actually look over these matches. I don't know what these two decks do, like word for word, for card. So hopefully there's not going to be misplays. If there are, just let us know in the comments.
I don't think so.
I mean, you could assume that Green is just going to cheat by there's this one card called Dormant Potential Unleashed. It just says you get to cheat on the card. So that probably does that. And then on Jake's side, he used to have a card. Blue is actually the most fair color now because the card called Senzu Bean that just says cheat on it is now you can only cheat on your opponent's
turn. If it's your opponent's turn.
Yeah. So if there's any cheating on top of Dormant Potential and Senzu Bean, then please let us know in the comments.
So, we haven't seen either one of these decks. So guys, kind of go over them for a bit.
All right, you want to go first, Jake?
Sure. So the Gotenks list is kind of a mid-range list. It can apply pressure early or kind of try and just sit back and combo defensively and play for like a turn 4 or 5 pressure. But really why I wanted to play this deck is because I feel like it's a little bit slower than a lot of the other decks in the format right now, but if it survives, it can be pretty punishing, and you can build a lot of value throughout the course of the game without having to lose a lot of cards in hand. I mean, you do have to discard, but you draw them back. So as long as you have the proper setup, you get a lot of pressure for free, and it's just a solid mid-range deck. Nothing really broken, nothing really terrible in the list.
Very, very nice. And Gogeta works sort of in the same manner. It's probably one of the slower decks right now. You get to really what you want to be doing around turn 3 and 4. The basic premises of the deck is fusing from and into the Zenkai energy. So the as you see, like the 4-drops, the red Super Saiyan versions of Vegeta and Goku, they can fuse on top of the small ones. They can also fuse on top of the 3-drops from the Z deck.
Me evolve.
So yeah, awesome. Yeah, they just evolve on top, and they all have kind of toolboxy effects. The 3-drops also evolve on top of the 1-drops, and they will also you can kind of chain up. You can just go from the 1-drop to 4-drop. Very toolboxy. It's to kind of help you find the pieces so that you can actually go into your Gogetas later into the game, and then there's a non-targeting or a barrier ignoring. Let me get my terminology right for the game. Barrier ignoring big ol' Gogeta that'll just make sure that any problem gets paved away, make a giant attack, and draw a billion cards in the process.
Yeah, I think that was a very smart play there, removing that Gohan. Even though you don't get the attack off of evolving from that Vegeta because you had already swung with the previous one, and they're all 15Ks for the Union Fusion part of the deck. So you're not missing out on a lot there, but getting rid of that floodgate and potential attack is really, really strong.
Yeah, I had to think about that one for a second. It seemed like I just can go. I have the card right here. It's 1 energy to make sure that I can play the game next turn. Seems like a pretty sound investment.
I do want to point on like the toolboxy nature of Gogeta, where the lower end is not all that strong. You do have some decent removal. You have some decent draws up of like the Goku, but the top end of the deck makes up for the lackluster lower end of the deck. It's a little unfortunate that you have to run so much of the lower end to facilitate the higher end. But like the card that you just put into your Z energy there, while that is not technically a higher end of the deck because it's so cheap to put on build, that card is fantastic for the deck.
Yeah, the card is amazing.
The capriciousness.
Weesus Capicis.
Yeah, it's a very difficult name to say.
Yeah, that's why you got to make fun of it.
Yeah.
There's no other way to say it.
You can't take it seriously.
No. Card's kind of crazy. I think I have resolved it here, right? I did notice that I kind of missequenced. I didn't know what... I am against blue, so I'm trying to play as reactive as possible. But if I knew that I was going to need to drop that ASAP, I should have comboed a little heavier and had both the Goku and the Vegeta, because I'm pretty sure I only had the Vegeta part of the requirement to activate it for free in the ZMG at the start. So had to take one maybe unnecessary attack. Maybe you can kind of say it's like a bait, and maybe you play all out and then I negate and I look real smart. But trying to be as reactive as possible in this matchup. I don't know exactly what his cards are going to do and when they're going to do them.
And I'm kind of going into things with the same mindset. You can't really see, but the card in my Z energy over here is the Goku and Vegeta. I forget what it's called. Something United?
A rivalry, something.
Yeah.
I play the card. I love the card, but I don't.
Yeah, it's the 3-drop where you can pay a blue energy and discard a card from hand to combo with 2 cards from your drop area. And then if you have 3 cards in your combo area, you can play the card from the Z energy. The thing that's good about it in this Gotenks deck is comboing with those 2 cards will actually allow you to activate the leader effect, assuming that you have another energy to pay. And then you just don't care about playing it from the Z energy, so you can use it over and over again to get 2 attacks and 2 draws a turn out of your leader. And then you don't really care that you discarded a card to activate the effect every time, because you draw 2 off of your leader, and your first leader swing is going to be a 20k, and the second one's going to be a 25. So you combine that with just your Boo Unison, which is free pressure anyway, and then this Trunks in play, it's kind of hard to see, but it actually has Revenge, oddly enough. So it's kind of a gross target for your opponent to attack. So basically, when you're set up like this, you just kind of have a lot of free pressure that you don't spend a lot of cards for. And then eventually, when you get to the late game, you can kind of just fire the laser and deploy everything and hope to win in all in one turn.
Revenge is a skill I'd like to see more of in this game. You don't see it very often. Usually it's just paired on like an Android 16 with a blocker or something of that nature. But I like the idea of having the that keyword skill be like an alternative to this card cannot be KO'd, where it's going to incentivize your opponent not to attack into it. Even if the card is not all that great, maybe it's an activate main draw one. That switch it to rest mode, and if your opponent wants to attack into it, cool, they're going to lose a battle card, or they have to burn the leader swing.
That card would be insane, Jimmy.
Yeah. well,
that card would be so good.
Well, I mean, you can still remove it from other skills, because I would hope they wouldn't put barrier or something else on it.
Okay, yeah.
But just using revenge as a incentive to not attack into a battle card, I think is really cool.
Yeah,
and I'd like to see more cards like that in the future.
Does anybody else remember the King Vegeta that would like it's an extra card and it's like from like set 2 or something that gives
Yeah.
on the battle phase?
King Vegeta's secret technique, is that what it's called?
Is that what it's called? If you remember that, you are an OG.
I think it's a King Vegeta surprise tag.
Maybe
It got reprinted in Anniversary Box, and then they changed the how the rules of Revenge work and kind of made the card completely useless.
It is surprise attack though.
Surprise tag, yeah.
Ah.
I remember that card I remember Aaron putting that card on All-Inspiring SSB Vegito in Janemba and just said, suck turds.
No, gross.
All right. And so here, like while it's happening, I want to highlight one of the small issues with the deck. You see I play both the Goku and the Vegeta, which at this point is 2 energy. That's half my energy setting up. I actually end up getting the Vegeta 3-drop off of the Goku and the Goku drop off of the Vegeta. So I couldn't even play until that Vegeta resolved. So that's one small issue with the deck, because like I think I have the Goku and the Z energy, which is fine, but I'm still trying to pop things on his board. And the 4-drop Goku is probably like the worst out of all of them. It brings back a 1-drop from the drop. It's like a recovery play or something like that.
I think the intent of it is maybe to use with that Bardock Paternal Unison, and then just pop the 1-drop and force your opponent to drop a card, maybe?
That'd be pretty gnarly, because their skills are negated and it's in rest mode.
Yeah.
That really does come up here in this game.
That real quick, that confused the crap out of me. I was like, why is Hatch in rest mode? Did you just combo with that card? Like, I was so confused.
No. Doesn't Hatch play in rest
No,
mode?
it plays it
play?
active.
Oh, okay.
It just confused the crap out of me. Just I was like, why did he just combo that off? He's really cocky.
No. For some reason, I thought Hatch played in rest mode.
There
I mean,
are cards
pretty
like the promo 17 that will play in rest mode. We need to game with it. Like there are cards that will do that, but Hatch does not.
I guess every time you guys activate it against me, I'm playing Trunks Vegeta, so it comes into play in rest mode.
That makes a little too much sense. Not to go too far back into this matchup, but I think one of the strong suits of this particular Gogeta deck, and even the green Broly extra card deck, the Whis' pieces running alongside Dormant Potential. One of these strategies is playing against green, if you know your opponent's playing Dormant Potential, which they should because it's the best green card in the game, is that you want to swing with your big bodies first. You want to swing with your big double strike unison first, because if they want to put you on Dormant Lock, they're still going to have to deal with that attack because it does not negate the attack, where Whis will negate the first attack. So if your opponent has an energy open, you now have to play the gamble of like, okay, do I walk myself into the dormant by swinging with a weenie, and then I burn some valuable attacks, or do I risk getting my big attack negated and now I'm stuck with 2 weenie attacks? It's very small on paper, but that choice can shift a game.
Oh, and I mean, depending on what deck your opponent is playing, that could throw a pretty big wrench into their turn. Fortunately for me, I get a lot of value just out of attacking with my leader, and I can like fish for dormants and Whis that way, and just try and end up drawing cards when my opponent's discarding. So, and it ends up working out in this particular matchup for me, but I could see decks, especially like Red Sin, where that could starve them out the entire game, given enough copies of both.
Yeah, I think if you're a Gogeta or Broly player, I think you should think about running both Dormant alongside your on theme other Floodgate.
Whis' pieces, I love that.
So if I remember correctly, you just go down to no cards here, and then
I noticed that this is an all-out swing. and he combos 3, and I have 4 cards in hand. And I'm like, well, this is kind of lucky. And I just drop my whole hand on the table. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess it's Goku draw 3, discard 1 time. That seems to be like what's on the menu. I don't know if I actually get there here. I do draw the super combo here, and I think for a long time if I actually want to charge or not. Everybody's like, don't do it, and that's probably correct.
Yeah.
Okay, Jaren's good. Because depending on how many cards in your thing, you can pop the Unison.
Yeah, I got a little bit scared after that. Like, being able to restand 2 off of 1 off the Boo and 1 off of the leader effect activation, and still have the Boo in active mode with 2 markers felt really nice. And then Jiren coming down made me really regret spending Hatch early in the game. I think I even said it out loud, like, man, I should have saved this Hatch.
Yeah, it was pretty good already, but I don't think I was getting too many more attacks, if any, when you dropped it.
Right.
Here's where I think one of the critical misplays happens are, I'm not sure what he's going to play, so my ideology here is I'm going to swing my double strikes before I play something and then get like a huge counterplay and then just have to scoop already because something hit a card that I wasn't thinking of. So I was like, while they're here and I haven't opened any more windows for bad things that happen, I'm going to swing it. And in hindsight, that was like completely wrong. I should have kind of either swung with the small ones and then seen what happened once he was completely out of resources and maybe had to take a life.
Real quick, that Goku Vegeta, does it not combo if you have 2 energy or go to the drop? Does it just stay in the Z energy?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Goku and Vegeta will stay in the Z energy.
You just activate it over and over and over again if you don't play it from the Z. It doesn't... So that's why it's really good in this deck.
All right, sorry, Chase. I was just so thrown off by that. I thought...
Yeah, I had to go...
Yeah, me too.
I'm like literally right here. I was like, what zone is he in? He was just on the side and he's like done 3 things for you and I don't know what's going on.
I was like, it is my 1Z energy. And he was like, what?
This is a field spell? Like, what is this?
Yeah. I don't know if if that was the way the card is intended. It feels like it should either go to the drop area or get played after you proc it, but if it worked that way, it wouldn't be efficient enough to use in this Gotenks deck in the way that it works. So I don't know what the intended design for this card is, but I'm really happy it works the way it does.
I mean, like in Gohan, it's used to get the 3 combo cards with 1 energy and then immediately play the 8 drop.
Yeah, and then play itself.
Yeah.
But if you don't play it, it doesn't leave the Z.
Mm-hmm.
So right here, I am sitting pretty. I have exhausted basically everything that I think he has. I get super good draws off of the super combo and the Vegeta. I can pour a good bit of resources into this attack. I think at least a combo or 2. And then it's on the way back, and I have drawn a Wishes Capricious and the Homicidal Clones. Which is pretty good, and a card to discard. So I was like, all right, I have drawn Exodia. And I'm just letting this happen. That's one of the cards I was afraid of. I was like, I need to get these swings out and bait whatever he's got, because he's got like 1 billion energy open. So I'm glad that I actually ended up going on a card that wasn't super powerful like the double strikers, because I thought I was about to get another turn. But spoilers, we're about to see. I just dropped the Wishes Capricious, not playing any games, and then counter. My soul dropped.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of blue decks either aren't allowed to play enough energy or don't play the game long enough to have access to this card anymore, so it can still catch people off guard even though it's been around since like set 11.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to take this because I only have 1 card in hand, and it's a Homicidal Clones. Now the Homicidal Clones is dead, and we just call it a game. So yeah, counter is pretty good. I thought I just drew the out to my stupidity, and here we are.
Yeah, counter has always been a strong effect in this game, and Honestly, I feel like every color should have access to one. Maybe no, maybe not
No.
red.
No, keep
fun.
that shit to 5 energy, or the Supreme Kai is allowed to have one because I play that deck, but the rest of them can't.
Well, I mean, if there was a green counter that was 5 energy, would that be too bad?
There's one for 3 energy.
Yeah, but if there was one that wasn't a secret rare.
Fuck no, I don't want that shit. No.
With that being said, thank you for the opportunity. Keep in mind there's buttons down below. Feel free to click them there for a reason. And there's links. Click them. Jake, lead us out.
Remember to read your cards and know your plays. Let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to. And fluff out.